We go out there and give it everything that we've got. We can make this happen, now or never.
Christian, hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Ricardo, Tocayo, Gabriel, thank you so much for having me, guys. Thank you so much for your time. So thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to meet you. First of all, I love the series and I love your performances. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You know, I really like how the series shows these little details, but very important things about becoming a big star. You know, like the things almost nobody sees, like spending hours traveling on a bus, sleeping on a hotel, giving night performances. So I wanted to ask you, which would you say were those little sacrifices or details for you on this production that took really hard work, but maybe we have no idea about it?
Yeah, there was a lot of hard work. You know, there was the pressure to play somebody who was so beloved by so many people, who has such an incredible legacy. That pressure in and of itself was a lot. But then, you know, following in the footsteps of another very well-respected performance by Jennifer and wanting to honor her family was a lot. And, you know, I'm a huge fan of Selena and I know what I want to see when I watch a portrayal of Selena. So I made sure that I added all those nuances in and I did as much research as I could. And, you know, there are long days and, you know, we shot 6 days a week and our crew was amazing and everyone really dedicated themselves to this. And, you know, it's really important for me to speak to dialect coaches and vocal coaches and a trainer because she had incredible stamina on stage and I had to be doing these performances over and over and over again and dancing and dancing and dancing. And I'm not necessarily like the most, I don't work out, and that girl worked every single day on stage. So I had to make sure that I could really keep up with her.
Wow. I mean, I just can't imagine how actors have to go to set and then come back home and work out. It's insane. I mean, it's really a lot of hard work. It's impressive.
Yeah. But with such great reward. And I'm so happy that people are going to get to watch this and have fun watching this, because that's the point, right? It's just to bring such an incredible story back for people to watch and relate to and connect with.
You know, I can speak, not necessarily, for me, it was the scenes that we had to tape on the bus, you know, in those crammed quarters and really having to feel what that was. You know, thankfully I was in the bus driver's seat. So I wasn't back there with all of them. But, you know, that I remember sitting in the, you know, when we scene after scene on the bus, you know, that got to be a little bit grueling. And I remember sitting there going like, my God, I wonder what this was like for them to have just been living on this bus day in and day out, you know. But I'm sure Gabe can speak to that as well as like a lot of the performance stuff and the things that they had to deal with as actors.
Yeah, I mean, just like Ricardo was saying, like, you know, it was really eye-opening to see and to learn and to experience what, you know, somewhat of what they were experiencing at that time. It's very humbling, you know, it's very humbling, and you just appreciate the Quintanillas and Selena that much more because they made a lot of sacrifices. The struggle was very, very, very real. That's I guess part of the recipe of success is like you got to go through these trials and tribulations to come out at the end, and I think that's what we'll be able to show within the show.
You know, besides being an extremely talented singer, performer, artist, fashion icon, many people were inspired by Selena because she broke a lot of stereotypes. So as actresses, has it been hard for you to break these stereotypes in Hollywood? I mean, like, are there movies or series that you would like to work in but think that it's not possible yet?
I think that's changing. And it's changed, and I think that we're in a very exciting place right now.
Yeah.
And I noticed it even like if I think of like the 90s and the early 2000s. When I was working in the 90s, you had a handful of us that we would see at auditions and that we would see at places. You had Jennifer, you had Selma, you had Constance Marie, and you had like familiar faces that you would see working. And I think that now when I saw later and came back, and I was just like, oh my God, now you have so many young women and so many women of all ages following their dreams and following all of this. It was wonderful. It was really wonderful. And I think that right now we're at a very exciting time where seriously, if you just, the possibilities are there and it's exciting.
I think that we were at a time where we would see caricatures, and that's to me more offensive because there's no humanity in them. And I think people use the word stereotype, but I prefer the specific word caricature because you would just see it as kind of like a puppet that would serve the narrative of whomever was writing this, and it didn't give humanity to the culture. It didn't give a lot of love to the people. And I remember just having the original auditions being, when I got here 10 years ago, that it went from just Maid and Chola that were caricatures to now there's a lot of immigration stories. Now there's a lot of full-fledged stories like Suzette being a drummer, a Latina, a sister, a best friend. A lot of complexities. And not just that, I have other friends that are going to be in The Hype, and my other girlfriends that are in Vida. I got to work with Serie doing a movie called Slipping into the Darkness. That was incredible that I got to meet her there first. And it was obvious that we had more richness, and there's always work to be done, but we're not watching paint dry anymore, So I think it's important to stay grateful, to stay positive, and to keep working and to, get everyone together to move forward because there's a big wave of Latinx representation about to happen, and with a lot more doors opening up for not just me and Sadie and Christian and this cast and crew, but for everyone with us, before us, and right behind us.
There is this scene on the series where you say that everyone has a B-side, like in a cassette. So I wanted to ask you, which would you say is your B-side?
I guess I have a lot of different sides, and I think that's the same with Selena. I mean, all of us, we're like very complex people. I guess my A side would be work, and my B side would be family and momming. And, I'm really excited for my daughter to see the hard work that I put into capturing somebody who was such a pioneer for, Mexican women like me and my daughter.
I just have a few seconds left, so I'm going to ask this really quick. Can you share with me which was your expressions or feelings the first time you saw yourself in the mirror with all the costumes of your characters?
I remember looking and going, oh my God, I look just like my mom. Like there was times where I seriously remember my mom. Yeah, it was like seeing my mom in the mirror. It was great.
We always become our mothers.
Yeah.
Eventually it happens.
That's
what about you,
true.
Noemi?
Well, I think there was a moment where I was in character for the first time versus the first time I was in Suzette's signature look, which is with the boina, with a vest. And when I wore that specifically, the hair flipped out, I was stunned that with the help of our brilliant hair and makeup crew and wardrobe, that I really felt like I was feeling the last missing piece to shaping my character. So it was really a stunned moment that I didn't want to be stunned for too long because I wanted to own it and feel it and shine with it. It was really fun to see Suzette through me, in me, and with Selena. It was amazing.
And one last question for Ricardo. I think like people from the outside really can judge Selena's parents of being too harsh on her. Did you have an opinion before? And now that you got to play the father, what's your point of view of him?
I am from South Texas. My father is a Mexican-American father, okay? My tios are all Mexican-American fathers. When I watched interviews about Abraham, I saw similarities in my father and my tios and how they raised me and how they weren't the most cuddling of men, Yeah, and I know I am that way with my kids at times too. I'm probably a little more old school, than new school in terms of my parenting. But it's done with love, and the reason where some people may think you're being harsh, it's like, yeah, I am being a little bit harsh, but I love these two little people, and I want the best for them, and I think that's all Abraham was trying to do, was he was showing absolute love for AB, but in the same time telling him, hey, you've got to do this because you've got to believe in yourself, because if you can believe in yourself, then you're going to be able to accomplish so many more things. He was just trying to teach him a lesson, with
right.
love and And a little bit of harshness, yeah.
A little bit. And in this terms of working out and physicality, would you say it was harder to train and to become like Selena, or to train to kill zombies?
They were both different. Playing Rosita was so fun, and I get the joy of getting to play such strong Latinas. And I love playing Rosita, and that kind of feels like my comfort zone now. I've been doing it for so long, but Selena is a living, breathing person who was so loved and admired. So there was an added pressure to play Selena.
So congratulations, and it was really nice talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gabby.
Gabby, thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Gracias.